Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. I'm out here today with Charlie Martin, the Director of the Division of Water Quality, and we are in front of a really big tank. Charlie, can you tell us a little bit about the tank?
This is the Lower Cane Run wet weather storage tank. Essentially, there's a pump station located behind it. It's been there since the 90s, and it has a tendency to overflow when we have a lot of rain. So the tank is being built to basically accept that overflow rather than going into the creek. That's a 10 million gallon tank, so you're right, that is a big tank.
So you mentioned to me before that last year we had several overflows and that the tank would have prevented most of those. Can you talk a little bit about it?
Yeah, 2015 was a really wet year for us, and we had actually recorded 13 overflows at this location. If the tank would have been here, it would have accepted all of the flow except for one of those. And so that's what we're doing here. Basically, we were sued by EPA back in 2006, and part of the settlement of that consent decree, or that legal agreement, was to build infrastructure that eliminated overflows that happen on rainy days.
Well, this tank is kind of unique because it is on the Legacy Trail. So tell me a little bit about what makes this tank different from the other ones we will be building around town.
Well, and all of them are unique because certain sites, call for certain needs. We want to try to blend in as much as you can with a tank of this size. But the fact that we were plopping this thing right down in the middle of the Legacy Trail was a concern of ours. It had to be here because we're at actually the low spot of what we call Lower Cane Run, and everything drains to the lowest spot in sewer world. So we had to be here, but because the trail was here, I didn't want us to stick a big albatross right in the middle of it and everybody feel like they didn't get anything out of it. So we had some stakeholders meet with us, give us some ideas about some things that we could do that would be of a benefit to trail users, and the outcome of that is that there will be some landscaping and some scrim that kind of changes the appearance of the tank, but more importantly is a fairly generous amount of trees, because we heard from a lot of folks who are bike and trail users that said we need shade. And we're also providing restroom facilities and kind of just a little break area where you can pull off with your bike or what have you, sit down and relax, and hopefully over time those trees and that landscaping will diminish some of the appearance of that tank to where it doesn't look so obviously huge, and at the same time, like I said, provide a place for people to basically to hang out. Well, there will be other tanks throughout the urban area. Most people are probably familiar with the one that we've built at Town Branch Wastewater Treatment Plant. You can see it from New Circle. We will have one in the Richmond Road area here sometime in the next couple of years. Again, really concentrated around where the overflows have been in the past. And so trying to balance that as far as being able to control the overflows, but also be sensitive to the neighbors in the neighborhoods. The overall consent decree capital program is estimated at $590 million. There's 10 tanks. They are 7% in the number of projects that we have to do, but they're 55% of the cost. So they're a huge component of what we're doing here and what we're looking at in the future. This tank behind us here costs roughly about $13 million at this point in time right now. It was originally estimated to cost 36. So we feel really good that we value engineered this, and we were experiencing the same thing with the other tanks, that hopefully that $590 million expectation will be something significantly less than that.
Well, that sounds great. Thank you very much for meeting us out here.
Thanks for having me.